Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande is paying a visit to Fort Hare University following months of turmoil at the institution. The minister met with the university's management yesterday and continues those discussions today. Fort Hare has been plunged into chaos, having to deal with questionable academic fraud, murder and assassination attempts. Our reporter Ronald Masinda is tracking this story and he joins us now live. Ronald, I understand that you're with the Vice Chancellor, Sakhela Buhlungu of Fort Hare University. What is he saying about where the university finds itself today with so many scandals?
Good afternoon, Masakha. Well, before we get into a conversation with the Vice Chancellor Sakhela Buhlungu, we just have to go briefly into what Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimande said earlier during that press conference. He has expressed disappointment, first of all, into the investigations that the SIU has been conducting with regards to allegations of academic fraud linked to the University of Fort Hare. He says that the SIU has not been transparent enough. He also alluded to a forensic report that he didn't receive in 2021. He says that, for example, Premier Oscar Mabuyane has his constitutional right to challenge issues in court that link the university and him with regards to the issue of academic fraud. This is what the minister had to say further.
The SIU is quite capable of investigating matters of corruption, as it has been assigned to do so. But also it's correct that matters of recognition of prior learning, academic qualifications, and all that are matters that belong to the purview of my department. Yes, we do have the capacity. We have lots of it, actually, to investigate such matters anywhere in the country, in any of our institutions, because we are also assisted by, amongst others, the Council for Higher Education, which is assigned to deal with such matters of quality, programs, and so on, and the South African Qualifications Authority in areas of qualification specifically. My worry, as you say that I've been commenting, is that this issue of Fort Hare and allegations around corruption in awarding of degrees and so on, or registration, has the danger of discrediting recognition of prior learning and actually present recognition of prior learning as if it's corrupt. Recognition of prior learning is not corrupt, and I would plead with the media to say so. I'm not misleading you.
All right, let's get more reaction following those comments. I am joined by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Fort Hare, Professor Sakhela Buhlungu. Prof, thank you so much for your time. I need to get your reaction. It's been an eventful week. Yes. In court, the Bishop High Court giving that interim interdict for the SIU to stop for now its probe against Premier Oscar Mabuyane. I'm sure you are disappointed.
Well, not quite. I mean, we knew that we're going into a court system or situation, and that the outcome could be either way. So it went in his favor, and that's fine. But the investigations for the rest of the issues continue, and the SIU will then deal with the matter going forward, the matter of Mr. Mabuyane. But once again, as far as we're concerned, it's not in our hands anymore. It's in the hands of the SIU and the court system now.
Indeed, that was part A. There's still another part B with regards to these investigations. But I want to know, in terms of some of the allegations made by Premier Oscar Mabuyane following that ruling, he had said that he is going to clear his name. He mentioned about the university trying to embarrass him as a leader, and that he will now also mount other legal challenges, including his deregistration at the university.
Let me put it this way. The decision to deregister students is a decision by Senate, the highest academic decision-making body of the university. And Senate does not make decisions frivolously or carelessly or recklessly. It considers all matters. And the issues that are now in the hands of the SIU, or should I say the evidence that's in the hands of the SIU, speaks differently to what it say about it. One, there's no witch hunt. Two, there's no targeting. Three, there are facts, hard facts. And the SIU will table those at the right time. So as far as we're concerned, there are real issues there. The technicality about the outcome of the interdict is a different matter. There are hard facts on the table.
What is the next step with regards to this particular investigation?
Remember, the main respondent now that the presidency has been kind of removed by Mr. Mabuyane, the main respondent now is the SIU, and whatever course of action the SIU takes, we will support, because we believe that there are issues here, and that the issue cannot be allowed to rest where it is right now. It's very, very important. We know that having the matter drag on like this is not good. It's not good. It's not that we enjoy it. We're not enjoying it. But at the same time, it's one of those issues that, if not addressed, basically actually devalue the qualifications of the university further. And we are aware about the reputational element to it. But like I've said before, if you're going to perform heart surgery, you have to cut up the body first, and before you get to the heart, and then stitch it back on. There's no other way. There's no other way. So it's one of those difficult matters for us. But then again, you've got to do that surgery.
Prof, just lastly on the issue of academic fraud, who else could we expect to be named? I mean, I've tried to speak to several people who are allegedly being probed.
Let me put it this way. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. The people who are sitting with facts now, with documentation, with evidence, is the SIU. And I prefer that we leave the SIU to handle those matters. I also don't want, as the university, to be involved in triggering speculation about this or the other the person. The SIU has got the facts, it's got the evidence, and they will run with it.
Okay. Of course, academic fraud is one of just many challenges faced at the university. But today, most importantly, the Higher Education Minister came, he engaged with the various stakeholders and council, made it very clear that he's not here to dissolve council. What do you make of his involvement in this process? Was it a fruitful engagement?
But once again, let me put it this way. I think that we could have done without the meeting. We could have done without the meeting. But then, of course, the meeting did take place, and in the end, it had a very productive and very constructive ending. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, every side was the winner today. The minister, the council, and us as the management of the university.
My concern, however, is that there are concerns within the institution. The convocation recently held its press conference where they've been trying to engage with the management, and they're saying that management has not been open with them. Minister Nzimande also expressed worry with regards to some of the people involved within the university, and that there seems to be people not seeing eye to eye. Now, when you say that you could have resolved this issue, I mean, surely it cannot be.
Let me put it this way. The minister came, and concerns had been raised with him, and he came to table those, and he tabled them as frankly, as he could, and he was very upfront about the matters. Put them on the table, and one thing that's very, very important. I don't know if he did say this in his press interview, that those are issues, those are allegations, those are claims which may or may not be true. That's one, right? Two, the fact that it was agreed that council is going to meet and resolve those issues makes precisely the same point, that those issues are eminently resolvable. And deciding the veracity of this or the other matter also is something that council is perfectly capable of doing. And therefore, I should make a third point. Convocation, or rather, I should say here, the executive of convocation, yes, they went to the media. Yes, they wrote to the minister, which is their right to do, to raise issues, and they did in this case. But convocation is, the executive convocation is but one part. They're not involved in the running of the university. I think we need to make that clear. Convocation is there to drum up support for the university. And where possible to even point us to fundraising opportunities. That's their job. So they're not, for example, like the Student Representative Council, which needs to be provided with capacity and support by us as management. So it's a different structure. It's a structure external to the university, and which meets with us from time to time to share and compare notes and so on and so forth.
But they say time to time, they've only met you once since you took office.
No. This executive was elected about 2 years ago.
So the concern is that they've only met with you once with regards to some of them.
Let me put it this way again. There's no requirement about how many times we should meet. Okay? They are a stakeholder. There's no requirement in the statute whatsoever. Secondly, the time of management, executive management, including the Vice Chancellor, is spent mostly dealing with matters of teaching and learning, matters of research. So convocation is but one of the stakeholders. Very important to us. Secondly, I must make this point. We have a dedicated office in our communications and management department to support convocation. We have a dedicated office to provide communication channels and platforms and so on for convocation. So the thing about not getting support, frankly, and thirdly, the university has no obligation to provide finance or financial support to convocation. It's a very interesting structure. It's graduates of the university who are out there now. They're not the SRC.
All right. Minister Nzimande said also earlier that he has left the stakeholders and council with questions. What are those questions?
Well, I think in his interview he made a reference to some of those questions. These are questions about the concerns that were raised with him, really, and there's nothing new about it. It's the concerns that were raised with him, which he then put before council. And as I said earlier, council is going to sit and deliberate upon those. There's nothing out of the ordinary that he put to council. It's issues that have been raised by convocation president, for example, and that have been raised by other people.
Prof, let's change tack a bit and talk to another issue that took place more recently with regards to a group of students who went on a rampage at Alice campus. Have you suspended these students?
Now, let me try and remember now. What I do know for a fact is that they've been identified. There are 13 of them. I was on leave recently, and there was the acting Vice Chancellor during that time, which is in the last 2 weeks. So I do know that they've been identified. I do know there was a process that was started to deal with them, to put them through disciplinary processes. My memory seems to say that they have been suspended from the university.
All right. Very last question I've been asked to wrap, Prof. It relates to the 5 people who have now, 3 of them have been denied bail, 2 have abandoned bail, and this is an issue relating to the assassination and murder attempts of University of Fort Hare staff. Can we expect more arrests?
Look, that question belongs to the national task team that was set up by the Minister of Police, who are doing all the investigations. I would not be surprised if there were more arrests. I would not be surprised. But at the moment, I'm not able to say definitively that there are going to be more arrests, but I would not be surprised. The task team is better placed to respond to that specific question.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof. We really appreciate your time. That was the Professor, Vice Chancellor rather, of the University of Fort Hare, Professor Sakhela Buhlungu. It's back to you in studio.